206. The Yu Army's decisive victory over Wuzhou. Among the generals who led the Southern Song's resistance against the Jin, Yu Fei stands as one of the most celebrated figures in Chinese history. He was a national hero, renowned for his unwavering patriotism and military brilliance. Yu Fei's early years and military training. Yu Fei was born in Xiangzhou, Tangyin, modern-day Tangyin, Hunan. The year he was born, the Yellow River flooded, bringing devastation to his hometown and forcing his family into poverty. Despite this hardship, he devoted himself to studying literature and military strategy, particularly the art of war. Possessing exceptional strength, he could pull a 300-pound bow as a teenager. He later became a disciple of the martial arts master Zhou Tong, mastering archery and the ability to shoot with both hands, hitting his target with deadly precision. Yu Fei later joined the Song army. During the Jin invasion, he served as a junior officer in Dongjing, Kaifeng. One day, while drilling 100 cavalrymen by the Yellow River, a large Jin force unexpectedly appeared across the river. Though his men were terrified, Yu Fei remained calm, saying, "The enemy may outnumber us, but they do not know our strength. We can strike first and take them by surprise." With that, he led the charge, personally slaying a Jin commander. Inspired by their leader's fearlessness, the Song troops followed and routed the Jin army. His reputation for bravery quickly spread, and he soon became a trusted officer under Zhong Zhe, the renowned resistance general. One day, Zhong Zhe told him, "With your intelligence and courage, you are already on par with the great generals of the past. But charging into battle alone is not always the key to victory." He then handed Yu Fei an ancient military formation manual, saying, "Study this carefully, it will teach you the foundations of battle strategy." Yu Fei accepted the text and replied, "Military formations are essential, but true mastery lies in adapting to the battlefield. A great commander must always think ahead." Zhong Zhe nodded in approval, deeply impressed by Yu Fei's insight. Clashing with the corrupt Song court. Like Zhong Zhe, Yu Fei saw resisting the Jin as his ultimate duty. After Emperor Gaozong ascended the throne, Yu Fei submitted a memorial urging him to personally lead the army north to reclaim the Central Plains. He also criticized the surrenderous policies of Huang Qianshan and Wang Boyan, two of Gaozong's closest advisors. However, instead of appreciating his loyalty, Gaozong dismissed him from his military post, believing he was overstepping his rank. After Zhong Zhe's death, Yu Fei was transferred to serve under Du Chong, the imperial governor of Dongjing. When Wuzhou launched a massive attack on Kaifeng, Du Chong fled to Jiankang. Later, when Wuzhou attacked Jiankang, Du Chong shamefully surrendered to the Jin. Most of the Song forces disbanded, but Yu Fei and his troops remained, continuing to fight near Jiankang. When Wuzhou eventually retreated north, Yu Fei coordinated with Han Shizhong to inflict a devastating defeat on the Jin army. Yu Fei's rise and military discipline. After the Jin army withdrew, Emperor Gaozong returned to Lenin from Wenzhou. The Jin established a puppet state in northern China, placing Lu Yu on the throne of the Qi dynasty. This puppet regime frequently raided Song territory. Yu Fei led numerous campaigns against the Jinqi forces, achieving continuous victories. By the age of 32, he had risen to the rank of military governor, Jidushi, standing alongside Han Shizhong, Lu Guangshi, and Zhang Jun as one of the four great Song generals. It was during this time that he wrote his famous poem Man Jiang Hong, a powerful expression of his patriotic determination. The first stanza reads, "My hair stands on end in rage, my hat nearly falling. As I lean against the railing, listening to the drizzling rain. I look up and let out a long howl, my spirit ablaze with passion. 30 years of achievements turned to dust. 8,000 miles of war, only the clouds and moon remain. Do not waste your youth in idleness. Lest in old age, you are left with nothing but regret." Yu Fei dedicated himself to the complete restoration of the Central Plains. He lived frugally, even refusing a mansion offered by Emperor Gaozong, saying, "How can I think of home when our country is still under enemy occupation?" When asked when peace could be restored, Yu Fei responded, "When officials stop being corrupt and generals stop fearing death, only then will peace come." His military discipline was legendary. Soldiers were trained under harsh, battlefield-like conditions, practicing in heavy armor, scaling hills, and leaping trenches. Even his own son, Yu Yun, was not exempt from strict discipline. Once, while training on horseback, Yu Yun fell off his mount. Yu Fei personally punished him, setting an example for his troops. Under his leadership, the Yu army developed the motto, "Rather freeze to death than loot a civilian's home. Rather starve to death than steal from the people." Yu Fei treated his soldiers like family, tending to their wounds, feeding their children, and distributing rewards evenly. As a result, his army had unshakable morale and unmatched combat prowess. The Great Northern Expedition, 1140. In 1140, the Song and Jin signed a temporary peace treaty. However, the Jin soon betrayed the agreement and launched a full-scale invasion, with Wu Zhu leading 4 massive armies. Within a month, the Jin army had retaken all the land they had ceded to the Song, putting the dynasty on the brink of collapse. Desperate, Emperor Gaozong finally ordered all Song armies to resist. Yu Fei immediately deployed his forces. Wang Gui, Niu Gao, and Yang Zixing led offensives from multiple fronts. He coordinated with Hebei militias, led by Liang Xing, to harass the enemy's rear. Within days, his forces liberated Yingchang, Qinzhou, and Zhengzhou. Hearing of Yu Fei's advance, Wu Zhu panicked. Gathering his commanders, he said, "Other Song generals can be dealt with, but the Yu army is unstoppable." Despite this, he resolved to make a final stand. The Battle of Yancheng. Wu Zhu led 120,000 troops against Yu Fei's elite force. Yu Fei first sent his son, Yu Yun, to lead the vanguard cavalry, telling him, "You are only allowed to return if you win, if not, I will behead you myself." Yu Yun led the charge, slashing through Jin ranks, leaving the battlefield littered with enemy corpses. In desperation, Wu Zhu deployed his elite Iron Pagoda cavalry, heavily armored riders in units of 3, supported by Guai Zima flanking cavalry. Yu Fei anticipated this and ordered his troops to attack the horses' legs with axes and blades. As the Jin cavalry collapsed, the Song troops launched a full-scale counterattack, annihilating Wu Zhu's elite forces. Wu Zhu, devastated, wept, "My Guai Zima cavalry has never lost a battle until today. We are finished." Despite this, he launched another assault. Yu Fei's general Yang Zixing, with only 300 men, killed over 2,000 Jin soldiers before being shot down in battle. General Zhang Xian soon arrived with reinforcements, forcing Wu Zhu to retreat from Yancheng. Victory at Zhuxian town. Yu Fei's forces chased the Jin army north, reaching Zhuxian town, just 45 miles from Kaifeng, the former Song capital. As he prepared to retake the city, civilians rushed to support his army, bringing food and supplies in ox carts. Many wept with joy, seeing their homeland so close to liberation. Inspired, Yu Fei declared, "Let us fight on. When we reach Huanglongfu, we shall drink and celebrate our final victory." 207. The traitor Qin Hui. After Yu Fei's great victory at Zhuxian town, his army was poised to recapture Kaifeng, Dongjing. Wu Zhu, the Jin general, realized that he could no longer hold the city and decided to retreat north across the Yellow River. As he was preparing to leave, a scholar suddenly stopped his horse and said, "My lord, do not leave. General Yu, a title given to Yu Fei, will soon be forced to retreat. Dongjing will be safe." Wu Zhu was stunned and asked, "Yu Fei defeated us with only 500 cavalry against our 100,000 troops. The people desperately want him to liberate this city. How could Dongjing possibly remain under Jin control?" The scholar smirked and replied, "The imperial court has powerful ministers. No general can be allowed to achieve too much glory. From what I see, Yu Fei is not only unlikely to gain credit for victory, he may not even be able to save his own life." Hearing this, Wu Zhu immediately understood. He turned his army around and returned to Dongjing, knowing that political betrayal would stop Yu Fei from achieving his final victory. The powerful minister the scholar spoke of was none other than Qin Hui, the treacherous prime minister of the Southern Song dynasty. Qin Hui, from prisoner to traitor. Qin Hui had been an official during the Northern Song. When the Jin army captured Emperors Huizong and Qinzong, Qin Hui and his wife, Lady Wang, were also taken to the Jin capital as prisoners. Unlike the defiant prisoners who resisted, Qin Hui bowed and groveled before the Jin emperor, Taizong, eager to prove his loyalty. Taizong found Qin Hui useful and intelligent and assigned him as a military advisor under the Jin general Talon. As the Song resistance grew stronger and generals like Yu Fei and Han Shizhong refused to surrender, the Jin court realized that defeating them on the battlefield would be extremely difficult. Instead, they devised a scheme. They would send Qin Hui back to the Song court as an undercover agent to sabotage the resistance from within. In 1130, during Talon's invasion of Chuzhou, modern Huaiyan, Jiangsu, Qin Hui and his wife were released and sent back to the Southern Song. Upon arriving in Yuezhou, where Emperor Gaozong had taken refuge, Qin Hui sought an audience with the emperor. He fabricated an elaborate story, claiming that he had killed his Jin guards and stolen a boat to escape. Many officials were suspicious. They wondered, how could Qin Hui have escaped across heavily guarded Jin territory without being pursued? How did he manage to bring his wife along in such a dangerous escape? However, the current Song Prime Minister, Fan Zhongyin, was an old friend of Qin Hui and defended him. He convinced Emperor Gaozong that Qin Hui was a reliable and capable official. Gaozong, desperate to negotiate peace with the Jin, was eager to believe Qin Hui's lies. He immediately summoned Qin Hui to court. At his first audience, Qin Hui openly urged Gaozong to make peace with the Jin. He even drafted a formal letter of surrender for the emperor. Emperor Gaozong was delighted. He told his ministers, Qin Hui is more loyal than anyone. With him, I am so happy that I can't even sleep at night. He quickly promoted Qin Hui. First, Minister of Rights. 3 months later, Deputy Prime Minister. 6 months later, Prime Minister and Grand Chancellor, granting him control over both the military and government. Qin Hui's betrayal of Yu Fei. As soon as he gained power, Qin Hui began working against the resistance movement, ensuring that the Song court remained weak and submissive. At first, many officials opposed his treacherous peace efforts, and he was temporarily removed from office. However, Emperor Gaozong, still favoring peace over war, reinstated him after a few years. Qin Hui feared Yu Fei because the general's continued victories threatened the power of the pro-peace faction. If Yu Fei defeated the Jin, the Song would no longer need to negotiate, and Qin Hui's influence would disappear. When Yu Fei neared ultimate victory, Qin Hui panicked. He immediately convinced Emperor Gaozong to order Yu Fei's retreat. Yu Fei was shocked to receive a sudden imperial decree to withdraw. He wrote to the emperor, pleading, "The Jin army is collapsing, and our soldiers are full of fighting spirit. We are on the verge of total victory. We must not waste this opportunity." But Qin Hui intercepted his messages. Meanwhile, he ordered other generals, such as Zhang Jun and Lu Guanshi, to withdraw from the front lines, leaving Yu Fei's army stranded in enemy territory. Then, Qin Hui told Gaozong, "Yu Fei's forces are isolated. If they stay in the north, they will be annihilated. We must recall them immediately." The emperor issued 12 consecutive emergency edicts, each carried by a messenger on horseback, arriving one after another from dawn to dusk. Seeing that the emperor's decision was final, Yu Fei broke down in tears, saying, 10 years of effort, ruined in a single day. The people's grief. News of Yu Fei's withdrawal spread, and the people of Zhuxian town were devastated. They blocked the roads, weeping and begging. "We welcomed you with food and incense. This is known even to the Jin. Now that you are leaving, we have no hope but death." Yu Fei was heartbroken. He showed them the emperor's decree, saying, "This is the imperial order. I cannot disobey. The entire town erupted in sorrow. Soldiers, too, wept bitterly. The streets of Zhuxian town were filled with cries of despair. Unable to abandon the people entirely, Yu Fei delayed his retreat for 5 days, allowing any civilians who wished to leave with them. When his army finally left, hundreds of families followed. Yu Fei later requested that the Song court resettle them in the south. Qin Yui's humiliating peace treaty. Once Yu Fei had been removed, Wu Zhu resumed his offensive, recapturing all of Hunan. Qin Hui and Emperor Gaozong rushed to negotiate peace. Fearing that Yu Fei or Han Shizhong would resist, they recalled both generals to the capital and stripped them of their military command. Qin Hui immediately sent envoys to beg for peace. In November 1141, the Jin dynasty sent diplomats to Lenin, where the infamous Shaoxing Treaty was signed. The Song recognized the Jin as their overlord. The Huai River became the border. The Song had to pay the Jin 250,000 taels of silver and 250,000 bolts of silk annually. This humiliating treaty solidified the Song's vassal status, effectively surrendering northern China to the Jin. Thus, the cowardice of Emperor Gaozong and the treachery of Qin Hui had undone everything Yu Fei fought for, ensuring that the Central Plains remained under Jin rule for generations.